Hello everyone, I'm Kimberly and welcome back to my channel. Here we talk about all things beauty. Anything from makeup, skincare, hair and perfume. If you're interested in those type of things, just keep watching. So today we have the old soul eyeshadow palette from Glaminatrix Cosmetics. This is their new release and they so kindly gifted to me. So thank you so much for sending this over my way. And I'm going to show you a look today with it. From the brand, I'll read you a little bit off the back. It reads, "This palette, for the ones who feel deeply, love quietly, and see beauty where others don't. The old soul represents timeless hearts and thoughtful minds. The kind of people who were never meant to rush through life, but to feel it." So if we look at the color story, it's a beautiful neutral leaning palette. There are 7 shimmers and 8 mattes. So a pretty equal distribution on the palette. Today, I'm going to use a look, as you can tell by my dress that I have on, that's more of the maroon purpley leaning. So the colors we're going to use today are going to be Hourglass, Linger, Yearning, Echo, and the shimmers are going to be Fade and Remnant. So when I first saw this palette, I said, this is such a beautiful neutral color story. And I was immediately inspired to use maroon and purpley tones. So that's where we're going to start today. So we're going to start with Yearning here in the crease. And look at that. Look at that pigmentation. It's beautiful. And these are going on so smoothly. I mean, I'm currently using one of the Sonia G brushes to apply, but this is just going on so easily. And I just love the pigmentation of that shadow. That's so pretty. And speaking of old souls, I've always been told that I had one. I was always the kind of person or kind of girl who spent more time hanging out with the elders, as you'd call them now. So most of my friends when I was a child, believe it or not, were like my grandmother's age or my mother's age. I'm an only child, so I didn't have a lot of younger people to play with in the neighborhood where I grew up. And our family is not from the area where we were, so I spent a lot of time by myself. Didn't have a lot of young cousins to play with. And especially my parents were the youngest of their siblings and had me when they were considered older back then. Kind of different now, but back then considered older, as they were in their 30s when I was born. So I spent a lot of time hanging out with them and probably picked up a few of their mannerisms, if anybody could tell. So my dad used to actually call me Grandma. That was my nickname when I was growing up. And I was always told I had an old soul. So I totally felt the vibe of this palette. It kind of spoke to how I've always been told I am, throughout my life, and then also how I kind of view the world. I do think we could slow down and enjoy things a little bit more. I think in this world, we're always kind of running, trying to hurry up and go to the next thing. I'm using now Echo, that deep maroon shade, and just putting it here on the outer V, just to kind of get some depth to this look. Look at that. Oh, it's so pretty. So I'm all about having an old soul. I was always the person who kind of listened to old music. For me, that was back, when my parents used to listen to stuff from the 50s and 60s. And since I have a family member who was a member of the Temptations, that played a lot in our household. So I know a lot about old school, and old type of music and thoughts and things of that nature. So second nature to me. So next, we're going to use the shade Hourglass, and that's this warm taupey color right there. So I'm going to use that to kind of blend out Yearning. And this, I mean, these are just going on so smoothly. These are some of the smoothest shallots I've used recently. I mean, they are going on, look at that. It's just going on like butter. So as you can imagine, if you spend a lot of time with older folks, you end up saying a lot of the euphemisms and sayings and things and not that they say. So a lot of times when people would talk to me, they always say, you sound like an old woman, which is okay. I like to think that meant I had some wisdom, probably not so much, but it sounded good at the time. But I love, like I said, things that are considered more classic. I don't want to be one of those people who says back in the good old days, but sometimes I can understand how things may be thought to be a little bit better or different than now, I should say. So this is now the shade Linger. I'm going to put that just under my brow. And that's just to get a little highlight. Ooh, look at that. That is such a light shade, but I love that as an underbrow highlight. And then I think I will go back in just a little bit with the shade Yearning. Kind of buff that up just a little bit more. And then go back in with Hourglass. Trying to make it a transition in between Yearning and Linger. That lighter shade I put under the brow. Okay, I like the way that looks. And then a little bit in the outer V, shade Relic. This dark black right here. I love a good black. And put that just to deepen out just a little in the outer V there. Oh, love that. Good there. So that. Deepen up a little on this side. And we'll try to even everything out. Put a little bit more of Yearning. It's never wrong. You can always go back, and if you need to add a little bit more of a shade to kind of get it to where you want it, never a problem. You can always do that. And then we're going to go into Hourglass again. Kind of be that transition, and then again that light shade Linger. Just add a little bit more here under the brow. I want that to be a little bit brighter than I have it right now. There we go. I'm loving how that looks. Okay, so now for some shimmer. We're going to use our Shine On from Clionadh Cosmetics in Bad to the Brow. It's my favorite shimmer base. I use it all the time and actually have like 2 backups. So clearly you know it's a favorite. All right. So again, the 2 shimmers I'm going to use, this gold here, Fade. And then this more maroony shade. Kind of has some white sparkles in it. That's so pretty. And that's the shade Remnant. So I'm just going to put that here. Oh, look at that pigmentation. And then we're going to put Remnant here. Just on about a half of the lid. And then because I want that gold to kind of be more, to sort of be more prominent, I'm going to pack a little bit more of that on top. And then hit there in the middle so it looks a little more seamless. So I'm going to clean this up and then I'll come back and show you the final look.
I wanted to take a break in our regularly scheduled programming to share swatches of this beautiful palette. Starting at the top, we have Whisper, Kindred, Timekeeper, Echo, Remnant, Linger, Candlelight, Hourglass, Fade, Yearning, Relic, Keepsake, Reverie, Still, and Flicker. These are beautiful, shimmery shades that are so reflective in the light. So I wanted to take this time to share these with you. And now we'll be going back to our regular scheduled programming with my final look.
So I'm back, and this is the final look. What I used to do to finish this up was I put a little bit of Linger in the inner corner, and then on the lower lash line, I put Yearning. And then I put Echo on the outer. Put a little bit of Relic to kind of darken up, to kind of match the darker area on the upper lash line. And then I used in my waterline the Victoria Beckham liner. This is in the shade Bordeaux. It's just a really pretty maroon. I thought that would go really well with this eye look. On my lips, I have the Cosmic Beauty Runway lip liner. And I have the Fenty Gloss Bomb in the shade Fuchsia Flex. It's just really pretty, sparkly shade. I just love it. I think it came out a year or so ago. It's just so pretty. And I thought it would go well with this look. My other details, my foundation, Estee Lauder Double Wear, the OG, not the new one. My bronzer, I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer in shade number 4. For my setting powder, I use the Givenchy Prism Libre powder. This is in number 6. Under eye powder, Pat McGrath. Love this. This is in the shade Deep. Mascara, the Thrive Mascara. Eyelashes, Glaminatrix. And that's all I have on my face for today. I really love this look. I think it's really a really pretty neutral look. I love putting the gold on the outer aspect of my lid to kind of add a little bit of flair, I think. But I can see a bunch of looks that I can do with this palette. You have some very beautiful pink. You have a gray there, black, a silver shade there. You have obviously this beautiful blue, which looks like it shifts kind of a blue to purple. That's so pretty. And then let me swatch the silver shade for you right there. Candlelight, which is the kind of this gold, neutral kind of shade. And then we have this kind of taupe sparkle right here. Those are really so pretty. We have Whisper, which is this kind of lighter blue sparkly shade. And of course, the 2 shades I used today, which are the gold, which is Fade, and then Remnant, which is that kind of maroon shimmer. So first impressions of this palette, I like it a lot. I think the mattes were very creamy and smooth and easy to put on. The shimmers went on like a dream, had no problems with creasing. There is a little bit of fallout, so usually I like to do my eyeshadow first and then do my face. So while there was some fallout, I was able to swipe it away pretty easy with my brush. Wasn't too bad, just a little on the cheeks there, but the glitter glue I think did help it stay on better. So love the palette. Great release from Glaminatrix Cosmetics. This is the first one in a series, so I'm excited to see what's coming next. Also with the palette, they released this really pretty coin. Apparently, there's going to be released with each part of the series, and there'll be multiple coins that you can put in a little collector thing there. This is the first one. This is called Fragments of Self. And I'm not able to get the thing open just this minute. But it's a very weighty coin. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the other ones in the series are. And also getting the collector sleeve, which Glaminatrix did say we will get. They just aren't available yet. And I'm excited to have this as a memento for each one of these beautiful parts of this collection. So if you like a nice neutral quarter story, and this one speaks to you, I think you really will enjoy the quality of the shadows. The mattes and the shimmers are absolutely fantastic. Glaminatrix did a wonderful job as always, and I would highly recommend it. If you're interested in picking this up or anything else from the Glaminatrix cosmetic website, please consider using my code. It's Kimberly. It'll give you 10% off. It is affiliated, so if you use it, thank you so much. That's all for today. I hope you all are doing well. Let's go live your best life. This is not a dress rehearsal. You're on stage, so make it the best performance ever. Have a great one. See y'all next time.